You ever stop and think about where your medicine really comes from? I mean, it's not always about these giant factories just stamping out millions of the same pill over and over. Sometimes medicine has to be incredibly personal, super precise. So today, we're going to dive into that world, the fascinating, high-stakes business behind custom prescriptions. And we're going to get a look inside a company that makes it all happen, Spectrum Pharmacy Products. So let me ask you this. Let's say your doctor prescribes medication that's made just for you. Where does all the stuff to actually make it come from? The raw ingredients, the special tools? Well, the answer is way more complex than you'd probably guess, and it all starts with a very special kind of pharmacy. So, what are we talking about here? It's called a compounding pharmacy. And no, these are not your typical corner drugstores. Think of them more like highly specialized labs, where pharmacists create personalized medications literally from scratch for one specific patient. It's kind of like they're the master chefs of the pharmacy world, right? But instead of whipping up a fancy meal, they're dealing with life-saving compounds. Okay, but being one of these master chefs comes with some massive challenges. It's not as simple as just ordering ingredients. These pharmacies face these huge logistical and regulatory hurdles just to get the basic stuff they need to even open their doors. I mean, think about it. They need a crazy variety of super pure chemicals, all this specialized lab equipment. We're talking ointment mills, sterile hoods, the whole 9 yards, plus all the cleanroom supplies. And here's the kicker. Every single item, right down to a pair of gloves, has to meet these incredibly strict government standards. It is, frankly, a logistical nightmare. And this is exactly where our main character enters the picture. A company that was basically built from the ground up to solve this exact problem for thousands of these pharmacies. So let's meet Spectrum Pharmacy Products. Yeah, and these guys have been at it for a long, long time. We're talking roots that go all the way back to 1971. So over the decades, they've gone from just a chemical supplier to running their own FDA-registered facilities. And today, they hold all these key quality certifications like ISO 9001. So what you need to understand is this isn't just some random supplier. They are a deeply experienced, highly credentialed partner in a really, really demanding industry. So how did they crack that big pharmacy challenge? Well, they built the ultimate solution, a massive one-stop shop that just simplifies the entire process for these compounding pharmacies. And when I say one-stop shop, I am not kidding. Get this. Their catalog has over 200,000 different items. Just let that number sink in for a second. It's just incredible, and it shows you how deep their offerings go. Basically, if a compounding pharmacy needs it, chances are Spectrum's got it. So what does that huge number actually break down into? Well, you've got your heavy-duty equipment, right? Things like ovens and balances. Then you have the absolute core stuff, the chemicals. That includes APIs, that's the active pharmaceutical ingredient, the drug itself, and excipients, which are the other things that help deliver the medicine. Then you throw in all the everyday supplies and the super specific regulatory stuff. And yeah, it's all there in one place. Okay, look, having a giant catalog is one thing. That's great. But what really makes their business model work, especially in such a heavily regulated industry, let's dig into their core advantages, because this is where it gets really interesting. It really boils down to 4 key things. First, they are absolutely obsessed with quality and compliance. We've touched on that. Second, that whole one-stop shop thing just makes life so much easier for their customers. But then they also provide this deep scientific and technical support, and they have a laser focus on meeting every single regulatory standard that exists. You see this acronym here, cGMP? This is a huge deal. It stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practices. Basically, it's a standard enforced by the FDA to make sure that products are made and controlled consistently to the highest quality. For you, the patient, what does that mean? It means the medicine you get is pure, it's potent, and it's safe every single time. It's like the ultimate seal of approval for safety. And believe me, they don't just talk the talk. To prove it, look at this number. Spectrum performs over 20,000 quality control tests a year in their own labs, all to double and triple check the purity and consistency of their products. That is a staggering amount of work, and it shows you how serious they are. And it goes way beyond just the testing. They provide this whole ecosystem of support. What that means is, if you're a pharmacist and you buy a chemical from them, You can trace its entire history from start to finish. You get a heads up if anything about its manufacturing changes, and you get all the scientific paperwork you need to breeze through a tough regulatory audit. For pharmacists, that's not just support, that's peace of mind.
Okay, but of course, no business model is perfect, right? There are always trade-offs. So to get the full picture, we have to look at the costs and other key things you've got to consider when you're dealing with this level of quality.
And it really comes down to a classic dilemma. On the one hand, the benefit is crystal clear. You're getting premium, heavily tested materials that absolutely guarantee safety and compliance. But on the other hand, the trade-off is, well, that level of quality is probably going to cost more than if you went with a less regulated commodity supplier. You get what you pay for.
And it's not just about the sticker price either. There are other operational things to think about. If you need a really rare chemical, for example, it might take longer to get. Ordering controlled substances, get ready for a mounting of paperwork. And if you're an international client, well, shipping these sensitive materials across borders comes with its own set of regulatory headaches. It's all part of the price you pay for this kind of precision.
So at the end of the day, Spectrum's business model, it isn't for everyone. It is a highly specialized service built for a very specific, very demanding industry. They've perfectly tailored it to the world of compounding pharmacies. So you see, they're not just selling products. What they're really selling is compliance, and maybe most importantly, confidence.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. We live in this age of mass production, right? One size fits all everything. So in a world like that, what is the real value and what is the true price of getting something absolutely precisely right?